I can see that.
Hello, everybody. We're live. We're live. Wednesday night live. We're a little bit late. A little bit late. We had a little technical difficulties, but it's okay. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this
Thank you,
fine,
thank
snowed in, de-thawing Wednesday. Um, we don't have a lot to talk about tonight, but we will get into some things. I am one of your hosts, Anisha Slater, along with our
Crime expert,
boom.
Desiree Edwards.
And
I'm
who's
just
that
gonna
down
jump in
there?
front of Craig.
Who's
Craig
that
come
down
with Craig.
there, Craig?
What? Oh, hey, I'm the
Like, whoa,
He's the Craig.
I'm
that's Craig
tonight's
down there.
entertainment. I am your producer behind the scenes extraordinaire.
So, what's been going on in everybody's fine lives?
Lots.
That much, huh?
Yeah.
That much, huh? A lot of work. I've been doing lots
Yeah.
of work, working on the wedding show. I keep wanting to say wedding singer. It is not wedding singer. It is wedding. It is marriage box. Marriage box. We're in the home stretch casting engaged couples for a fun little ride, a 5 day little locked in a little box with your person. See how well
Mm-hmm.
you survive that. At the end is a nice 10K, up to 10K honeymoon. So yeah, that's been what I've been doing, which
Yeah,
has
I could
been
use that.
hindering my editing capabilities right now. But
Have you found
I,
any potential couples yet?
oh my gosh, I wish I could talk about the couples because some great, great couples. They're not exactly greenlit yet by the production company, but it's going good. Some good people. So I'm excited.
well, I trust that your folks will be greenlit because I
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
greenlit. Oh,
Yes,
see?
you were. Matter of fact, if
Yes.
you want to see Des, you can go catch some episodes of Caught in the Act Unfaithful, which is on MTV. Our
Season two.
ad, our ad says VH1, but Homegirl's on VH1 and MTV. Thank you.
Yeah.
Both
Season
networks.
two. Season two.
Season
Season
two.
two. Yeah, season two.
And so catch that. Catch that.
Mm-hmm.
You heard?
Mm-hmm.
I had
Mm-hmm.
some meetings this week.
What were you meeting about, Craig?
Yeah,
My
Craig.
my beverage company crafted culture. If anyone wants to check it out.
Hurry up and
Um,
tell them, Craig, before I explode and tell them myself. What kind of meetings and with who have you been in? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So right now, the beer that we have out called Citrus Seaburst, it's available in Florida only in Total Wine and More stores all across the state. But I had meetings this week with Food Lion, Dollar General. I have in a program with Target right now about getting into Target stores. So fingers crossed, if even one of those happen, um, we'll be looking at some, I don't know, exciting stuff.
I
You know
can
how
grab some citrusy bursts up in New Jersey. Detroit can get it.
at
Yep,
someday,
that's
at
what
some
we're
At
point.
some
headed.
point, as we're working on that, we're working on that. But no, like I feel so left out. Like I was telling Craig, like, as we talk about it, I want in on this. The packaging looks amazing and fun and cool, and it you know how sometimes you see a package and that package is some kind of way, like a hint of how good it's going to taste.
Mhm. It's not
Yeah,
very clear, but that's a
yeah,
You
sneak
yeah.
can
peek
check
of
it
it.
out. What's the website, Craig? What's the website?
Oh, it's crafted-culture.com.
I am like, do you understand? Like my one of my best friends, Robin, she bought 2 cases for me. I cannot wait to get my cases. Because
You
Oh,
I
she's in
know,
cry.
Florida.
Yeah, she's in Florida.
that store that she bought from
Mhm.
sells so much of our beer at this point.
Really?
Maybe it's her. Maybe she's like telling all her friends or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
how are you getting yours? Well, we won't talk about that because
I haven't
Does
been to Florida in a bit,
I
so.
I keep thinking all the time I need to just like send a 4-pack to you, and then I keep forgetting. So if you want to gently just remind me every now and then.
That's the
To me
gentle
too.
side.
Yeah, to you.
Look
To
at
the,
you.
to Detroit. Tanisha, I need to send you some too. I mean, you've been on the show, you've been talking to me about it for such a long time.
I'm gonna get some crafted.
Some citrusy
I
burst.
think you said
Peach flavor.
one of your kids really likes
Yeah,
craft beer, right?
Yeah, what he drinks Heineken. Is that the same thing?
It's more like
See, I am a Modelo drink. Like I am not a beer person, but when
yeah,
I drink beer, I drink Modelo and not is it another one? It's
there's
kind of in
Modelo,
Corona Heineken.
Corona is some,
Corona.
yeah. So
Yeah.
this beer is
Corona.
very similar to those,
Hmm.
except it already has lemon, lime, and orange juice in it. So you'll get that. You know how you normally would cut up a lemon or a lime
And
and
put it
stick
through
it
the
in?
yeah.
This already has that. Like you can already taste it when you crack it open.
Spiked
I'm
Sprite.
excited.
It's got some
I'm
juice in it.
excited. Thank you, Craig.
Mhm.
Thank you already before I even get it.
And I don't mention it much because I'm going to say this now. Enough about that. Let's get into 15 minutes of murder.
Let's
Ooh,
get past it.
child.
Well, I know last week we didn't get to talk about our favorite show, really. Um, but have you seen the latest episodes of Crime and Punishment? Crime and Punishment?
Crime in Progress? Yeah. I mean what was the last one you watched?
The last one I watched was, oh my gosh, it was, why am I blanking?
Was it the
Guys, I got
postal
amnesia.
was it the postal worker?
Yeah, it was the postal worker. Oh my gosh.
A
That one was
That
crazy.
postal
was
worker.
insane.
So the postal worker, well, y'all tell the story before I start asking questions.
So
Some
there was this postal.
spoilers, but
Oh, spoiler alert. Yeah, maybe people
yeah.
didn't see it yet. We're not going to talk about that. It was about a
Um,
postal worker. And it was very obviously sad. You were hoping. No, we can't do that.
what?
Spoiler alerts. Too many spoiler alerts.
So like to me, let's just put spoilers out there and let's just talk about it for a
And
minute.
let's
Okay,
talk
you
about
So,
go. Tell us.
so there was a guy who worked for the postal service, um, was out delivering mail and ended up getting shot like 5 times. And then you kind of
Oh,
reverse
broad
it
daylight.
in broad
Like
daylight
middle
out
of
on the
the day.
street. You kind of reverse back into the story of them trying to figure out like who did this. And in the end, it ends up being, was it his wife or
Oh
girlfriend?
my God.
But it was
It was
his,
his ex's the he was the father of her child.
yep.
And she had like two boyfriends. And the one boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend, because the current boyfriend, I don't think had anything to do with it. He knew about it though. And the ex-boyfriend, who's the father of her child, was the one who did it. And then he sat there and told the cops something like, oh, he tried to stop her and he followed the guy on his mail route to warn the guy about that she had this, vendetta out for him when he was the actual one who shot him.
No,
Almost all these ring cameras catching him running from this house to that house,
it
down this
was
block, past here.
it was the girl that shot him.
No, it was him.
Her and the postal worker had a child together. She wanted custody of the child full out. She was dating that guy who was
mm,
there. He was in the truck waiting for her. And she went
What was
out
I
and
watching?
she went out in the hood with the mask on and shot him and ran away. And the reason they knew it was her because she was dumb enough to take a selfie of herself in the costume and send it to the current boyfriend.
Right, she did. Is that Kiki on?
Is that
Kirsten,
what?
Kirsten, is
what
she
Kiki?
on tonight?
I don't, Kirsten is not talking yet. There's some
But is
people
she on?
watching.
Can you tell?
I don't know. I mean,
because
all I,
we
Because she
both,
watched, you all watched it
yeah,
together
we both
too.
watched it and we were just like, oh, it was him. Because when he was running away, we were like, he didn't look so heavy as he did. Because we
because
were like, that's not him.
it was her.
Mm.
But I think the takeaway, whether it was him or her, was how dumb can you be to take a picture of yourself in the murder costume? Not even costume, but like
Um,
hoodie with a mask, like
And,
that.
and that right there, what you're saying is why um Sunshine Investigations is jugging, honey. That is why I am always busy for that right there. You would be amazed. Like when people are in the middle of doing the dumb, you know what that they do,
I mean, there's a
and
whole
what
show on it.
and what's even dumber than the stuff that they are doing is the things that they will do to try to get out of trouble for doing the dumb stuff that they have done, right? So like I texted you guys earlier, like I've been crazy busy this week just from doing damage control from clients running their miles on geo recorded calls and like you no. So when we're watching this stuff and how you're like, oh, that was so dumb to them in that moment, that is the most rational thing that they could be doing. That is the bright idea. That right there. Taking
I
that
do.
picture and all of that, that was a bright idea to her.
Yeah, and I also think too that some people think that they're so far off the radar that nobody's looking at them, nobody's paying attention. Like nobody's
Hmm.
gonna see this except for, and it's just like, no,
No,
eyes are
like
watching. Like the
I
entire neighborhood watched you run through the neighborhood.
yes, and I have had federal cases where the indictment is full of social media and YouTube posts, like the whole thing, like that is the evidence. They didn't catch you with the gun or the drugs in your hand or in your car. It is the silly stuff, the pictures and things that you're taking and that you're posting. And so when y'all are talking about this girl and taking these pictures, I didn't see this episode, but that sounds very much on brand. That is not
Well,
surprising to me at all.
it the two things I'm going to bring up. One, it amazes me that when they were at the police station, they were questioning them. She was demanding to have her kid there. They had already taken the kid away. Like they went to his school and they're like, these parents are not getting this child back. And she's like, I didn't release him from school. He's my child. I want him back. I want him back. She thought at the end of that conversation that she was just going to walk out of there and go home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
And the guy that got arrested with her current boyfriend or whatever, they're putting the cuffs on him, and he's like, "Can I run to my car real quick and just like make a call?" Like it doesn't
making
register in their
exceptions.
brain that they are
mm-hmm,
going away to prison for a
mm-hmm,
really long
mm-hmm.
time.
And that is one way whether the confession is false or true is the cop saying things like, oh, just tell us the truth and you will go home. And to a regular person, you will be thinking, wait a minute. If I tell you I shot and killed or robbed and maimed, y'all not gonna let me go nowhere. But in the middle of that, while you're sitting there as a suspect, you're like, okay, cool. They said I can go home if I just tell them what happened and then I'm gonna go home. Like, no, ma'am, sir, you're not going home.
I mean,
Yeah.
But
yeah, but also sometimes like you have to think that when people commit these things,
mhm,
like there is some sort of mental illness along with it because you cannot in your right mind. Like I've seen a lot of them, like we
mhm,
go down
mhm,
this rabbit hole on YouTube and watch these like police camera shows
mhm,
that they do the entire show. And then when they get to the interrogation, they're like, oh yeah, oh thanks for bringing me that soda. Oh, I was thirsty. It's been
mhm.
a long day. Meanwhile, it's been a long day because you just set somebody on fire at a Piggly Wiggly. And you thirsty because you had a long day and you're like just excited that the interviewer just brought you a soda and not thinking like after this soda your life
Yeah.
is so
It's
like there's
over.
something there that's just
I can
not
when I am talking to clients, I can almost tell immediately like that if we need to have this person um evaluated for competency and all of those things because it is blaring. It is like flashing red lights. And I always say, like, for the most part, suspects and who end up to being defendants, they usually have some undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, untreated mental illness and some level of like cognitive delays, right?
Mhm.
Some type of speech issues, whether it is their expressive speech or receptive speech. Like there is something always off in them because otherwise, because if you have total control of yourself and your body, this whole thing that we're talking about right now of going and shooting and killing the postman while he's out on his route in broad daylight for whatever reason, that wouldn't be a thing for you.
Yeah. What was her reason again, Craig?
She wanted full custody of their child. She wanted
Y'all,
to get
I'm
rid
So
having
of
a
them.
now,
whole
so
hot
so you
flash.
wanted full custody, and now you have no custody. So there's something that's not,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or even in that moment when you are caught and you're in the police precinct, you're go get your child. Yeah, that's one thing. But another thing is, I need an attorney.
mhm.
Neither of them asked.
No, because they were so like, oh, I'll be home for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that also, like one of the questions that I sent to y'all earlier, um, when we were talking about tonight was, um, how does social media contaminate the jury pool?
Oh my God. I mean, what isn't? It's one thing that you have to like actually turn on the news. You have to put it on. But now it's just like your news feeds. You got your news feeds, and then you got social media, and everybody's a reporter, so they're reporting on everything. And it's gonna come across your feed, even if they're like, "Oh, don't go watching this, don't go watching that." Like you got to literally live in a box to not see what's going on.
So y'all know when I am always yelling and fussing about how they need to stop with the press conference and stuff like that.
Mhm.
This all ties in that. And you know, T, how T and Craig, I tell you guys that I don't watch the news, right? Well, it's really difficult for me to watch the news because if I see, like, if I'm watching the crime, right? And now I get the case and I'm looking through the file and the reports and all of that kind of stuff. Generally, what I find is that what is reported in the news is like the complete opposite of what actually happened. So even like one of our shorts, one of the acts, the PI, and I said this work has really taught me that the villain is not always who we think the villain is. And so even in this case right here about the postal worker and all of that, so as we're talking about it, it is portrayed to us from this show that this man was just shot and killed by these folks. But for the investigators, when they really get to work in it, it may be that this man may have sent them threats and all kind of stuff, and they were
Yeah.
frightened or whatever. So, oftentimes, what we see in the media is not just half of it, but it's sometimes wrong. And then people, especially a jury, they take that into that deliberation room because unfortunately, most people believe that if you have been questioned by the police and if you have been arrested by the police and if you have been charged with a crime, that you in fact have done it. So they
Mm.
already come into it biased that you are guilty. So yeah, I don't like the way, like, I get that the media wants to be informed and the media has a right to have a right to know. Like if it's some crazy mess going on down the street from you and your kids got to walk in that direction to go to school, you might want to know about that. But I feel that we have to have a fine, like, walk that fine line of informing the public
Mhm.
and not causing like unrealistic fear or contaminating the jury pool, but it absolutely happens. And in fact, that I believe that's one of the questions or whatever that's usually asked in voir dire, and voir dire is just the fancy word of jury selection, is that the prosecutor and the defense attorney may ask the jury pool, have you seen this on TV, how much of this you know, that kind of stuff. But it absolutely does.
it's so crazy until you just said it about 30 minutes ago, a little over 30 minutes ago, I got jury duty.
Yeah. And
Really?
I've had so I often get hired after a guilty verdict to go in and talk to the jurors and find out, what their thoughts were. And sometimes there have been cases that have come back on appeal simply because while the jury was in jury deliberations, one of the jurors may have blabbed out, yeah, well, when I went home on such and such a day, I
Mm,
Googled this and let me tell you what I found. Because what happens in trial, all information and all evidence isn't admissible. It isn't, right? So if this person goes out and Google something that wasn't admissible, now they have some information that they shouldn't have, and they have used that information in consideration to come up with their verdict. So it's a mess.
But I mean,
Yeah.
unless you like control that, and I mean, I guess big high profile cases do control it by containing the jury, but most times you're gonna go home, you're gonna Google it, your family members are gonna tell you, and if you don't Google it, your family members and
Mm-hmm,
your friends are gonna
mm-hmm,
tell you,
mm-hmm.
and that's not a fair.
Right.
There's
And
no
and
way
it
you're going home and abiding by the rules.
and correct. And in no way are you not removing yourself and your emotional and your own feelings from that, right? So if you have been beat, raped, and robbed, and the person whose jury you on, and they are an assaultive person, or charged with armed robbery or something, like that may taint that, your opinions of
Mhm.
that. And one way that, like, high profile cases, maybe like OJ Simpson and things like that, maybe even when Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper is charged, a judge may order a gag order, which
Mm,
means no one can talk about it, no press or whatever. But then that comes into, now press outlets raise hell because whatever happened to freedom of the press. So
mhm.
it is a very sticky situation. And I don't really have the answer to how we solve this or how we rectify that.
I mean, I think you can kind of stall that at the level of the police and the authorities on not releasing information that they know. And I mean, how about not having any press conferences at all nationwide unless it is in regards to keeping people safe? Because as soon as you're done and being able to rope off crime scenes far enough out that press can't be standing at the person's front door and running to them, up to them at their car, asking a million questions. Like, I feel like there's no protection there either, because you don't know what people will say when they're nervous, what people
Hmm.
will say to get you out of their face, what
Right.
lies people are telling. Like, you don't know. Like, I mean, the press is one thing, but like at some point, certain things should be off limits.
Certain things should be off limits, but certain things should be known. Because, like I said, like, if your child has to walk to school towards the direction of where XYZ happened, right? As a parent and a guardian, you're going to want to know that. So we have to have that fine line of making sure that our community is aware and, safe, have all the information that they have, versus now we've released too much. Now we got folks calling in making a mockery. Now we got copycat this. Now we got folks saying, send me one Bitcoin and I'll tell you. Like, that's messy. It becomes
Yeah.
messy.
Mm.
And I think really what it is that we need to be more responsible with our journalism.
Yeah. But but as you're talking, then it's like occurring to me that 9 times out of 10, that is what happens. It's contained. People don't know about it. But when you become high profile, then it's nationwide. Then everybody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna know about it. But
Mm-hmm.
those 8 young boys from Texas that went missing within a month period, nobody really knows about it. Nobody's talking about it. It's
Right.
not every day. You're not listening to piece by piece by piece. And so those things tend to like this, like the mailman. They were able to follow the clues without all of this, like somebody calling and talking about a Bitcoin, somebody calling and talking about this or that. They didn't have all that interference. It's
Mm-hmm.
local instead of like
Mhm.
this nationwide bumble, that happened with the
Yeah.
government piece. It makes me wonder, had it not been like that, would we be closer
Right.
to knowing what happened to this
And
woman?
and right, and then we can say the flip about those Texas young boys that we were talking about. Would we be closer to finding them had we known a little bit more? So that's what I'm saying. It is that fine
Yeah.
line of parsing out just enough information, but also parsing out the information for the intended purpose of what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
So we might need to put in a little bit more information because these are children, these are minors that we're looking for. Nancy Guthrie, maybe not so much because now we're concerned about copycat crimes or people just trying to get in on the fame and attaching themselves to it. So I'm not one of those people. I'm not media, I'm not law enforcement. But from the angle that I work, it is bad. It becomes very dangerous.
And you're also not a fisherman.
I'm not a fisherman. No, I'm
The
not. So
t-shirts coming.
yeah, they're coming.
There's
Yeah.
also, I guess, in the news, that Nick Reiner pled not guilty.
You put not
to-
guilty?
Yes, not guilty.
Hmm.
Oh,
That's standard.
How
If
I never understand that.
hmm
How do
That's
you have
standard. I mean, if they find you like standing over the dead body with the knife in your hand, um, the standard plea immediately is a plea of guilty. And sometimes when I'm looking at a case record, it may say defendant stood mute, judge entered plea of not guilty.
But then how, so then now it is the prosecution's point to prove that he's guilty.
It is always the
But
prosecutor's
then
point to
does
prove.
that make a case a sentence worse because he pled not guilty and then he's proven guilty?
No, mm-mm.
No.
So at that point, when some, like say Nick Reiner, where he is right now, it is too soon for him to enter a plea of guilty or not. And what I mean by that is all things in the system has a place and a time. That we're working on a timeline. And so right now he's pleading not guilty because a plea of guilt is not where he is in the process yet.
Mm.
So as you go, because you have to be arraigned, like we have to, the prosecutor have to establish the facts. So if the prosecutor hasn't established the facts, what are you pleading guilty to when the facts haven't been established yet?
That makes no sense to
That
me.
makes all the sense. Because what are you pleading guilty to? Because the only person, even though, like I said, if you're standing over the body with the knife in your hand, as a defendant, it is not your place to have to prove your guilt or your innocence. It is the
Mm.
prosecutor who has to prove your guilt or your innocence. So even though, so for example, if I am caught standing over the body with the knife in my hand, there are degrees of guilt. Am I just pleading guilty? Am I going to plead guilty by way of insanity? I have to wait to be evaluated before I can plead guilty by way of insanity. So that's what I mean by it's a lot of stuff that has to take place before a judge will accept your guilty plea. And if Nick Reiner stood in that courtroom or any defendant stand up in the courtroom too soon in the process, you better know that that's coming back on appeal immediately.
So it
Immediately.
is that whole innocent until proven guilty. And even if
Absolutely.
you are guilty, you don't say it because they got to prove it.
Because they have to prove it. Absolutely. The burden is always on the prosecutor to prove it. And if they haven't laid down the facts yet, I don't know what court dates, what hearings they've had yet, but if they haven't had the appropriate hearings and the prosecutor has not laid the basis of the facts of the case, then baby, you not finna plead guilty. Now you might plead guilty going down maybe 2, 3 months later, but for right now, this moment, it is too soon for you to do that.
Right. Well, here's where my brain is. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
commit a crime. I know I
Mm-hmm.
commit a crime. I shot somebody and they
Mm-hmm.
died, and I know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking it full advantage of innocent until proven guilty. And instead of me, who knows I did a crime,
Mm-hmm.
knows I murdered somebody, is going to take advantage of the system and say, they are not going to be able to prove it because I'm pretty sure I covered my tracks.
Except what remember going way back to like Caddy when we were talking about motive. You may have killed that person or I may have committed that crime, but why did I do that? Am I insane? Did I do that in self-defense? Have we had time to even build that? So that is why I say you don't plead immediately. That plea comes down later because the facts have to be established and they have to be set. So you may say, I did this and I'm taking responsibility for it. But Desiree, your defense investigator, and this person, your defense attorney, is going to say, T did those things because this person killed or ran over her puppy. So in that moment, this was an excited, she acted
Different levels of
in
guilt. That
yeah, right. And so we have to get there first. We have to establish that first. Did Desiree do what she did to this person because this person essayed her child? We have to establish that. And I might plead guilty to it later, but that information will be attached to that.
it's so interesting.
Yeah. So like even right now, I'm working a case where these folks came to my client's house and assaulted her, and she fought back. And so she ended up being charged because in her fighting back, somebody got injured. But after talking to her, I found out that there might be like some history of domestic violence or whatever. So that changes that level of responsibility because now we have a woman who is reacting to people who not just came to her home, but who has a history of attacking her in the past. So it's
Yeah, I could see.
Hmm.
yeah, so it's level two, and because we can't just say this only works for this person and we're only going to apply it for this person. We have to apply it across the board to everyone.
That makes
So
sense.
yeah, so when you're watching the news and you're outraged, what he pled not guilty, that absolutely that's exactly what he was supposed to do. He or she was supposed to have pled not guilty. And even if they wanted to plead guilty, the
There is.
judge would not have allowed that.
Mhm.
The
So see,
judge would
I'm
allow
I'm like looking at it like, oh, they pled not guilty because they're like, I didn't do it. That's
it.
not
No,
what that
mm-mm,
means. Pleading
no,
not guilty
no,
is not
no.
me. They
It's just
think
it
they're
is just not the place for that. Mm-hmm.
and see, well,
You
then there you go with the way the sensationalism of the way it's reported. It's
absolutely.
reported as he pled not guilty because he didn't
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Mm-hmm. Because every single court date that you have, it has a purpose. So this may be your arraignment where we just say Tanisha is being charged on these for these crimes, boo, 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 boo. That's not where you're not gonna plead guilty to that. Or you may have a say going down the line, you might have a pre-trial conference. That may be the place where you say, I want to take a plea deal. But at the very beginning, if your attorney is about the Constitution and your judge is about the Constitution and about protecting his or her courtroom, they're not going to let you plead guilty right away. They're just not. It's going to be a mess.
Hmm.
Um, Ian wrote in and said it's kind of wild that you can get charged for self-defense.
Well, and that's why I'm here, because I have to help prove that. I have to help establish that. Because people are under the misunderstanding that when the police arrest you or when the prosecutor brings charges against you, that there has been a full investigation. And that is not true. That is not true at all. Right now, I can call the police and tell them my neighbor did XYZ to me. And they're going to go over there, talk to the neighbor, and the neighbor might be arrested just because I said what I said. They're not going to go and do a full investigation and talk to the neighbor on this side or the neighbor across the street or dig into our phones to try to ping if the neighbor was really over here or not. No, they're going to listen to our stories and then they're going to say, okay, I'm arresting you and we're going to book you and you will see a judge. And the judge will then say, I'm going to bound you over for trial to allow a jury to make the decision. And oftentimes there is no investigation until there is a Desiree who comes along and actually investigate it. But the police generally don't investigate it. They just take reports and send it to the prosecutor and then put you in a holding cell until they decide what's going to happen to you.
That's a lot. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's a whole lot of people in a whole lot of prisons, in a whole lot of states, in a whole lot of countries who are sitting there simply because someone said something.
And a whole lot of tax dollars.
A whole lot of tax dollars. Yep.
That's really
Simply because someone said something.
that's really scary to think like my neighbor could call the cops on me for nothing.
For nothing.
Hmm.
Wow.
There was an episode of Judge Judy that was
Or
like,
better yet, let's say me and Alex and I'm mad at him and we're separated and now he's dating my friend and my homegirl and now I'm mad at them. I might call the police a whole bunch of times and say he's stalking me and he's doing this and he's doing that and now he's arrested.
and he wasn't. It
And
was
he ain't
just
did none of
mad.
that. And he ain't did none of that. I'm just mad and bitter.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's scary to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what,
So
and I
no.
thought like, what if you're like in New York City, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you jump into a taxi and some idiot left a knife in the back of the taxi and did some mess. And you pick up this knife and be like, oh, this is here. I found this here. You just don't say anything and put it to the side. And then eventually the cops find this knife and then your prints are on it. And then it's like you gotta like talk your
It
way out
could
so
be.
you
It
didn't.
could be. It could be. And like sometimes with like say first 48, or even like crime in progress, we're seeing some investigations like that, but a whole lot of times there is no investigation. It is literally your word against this person's word.
Well, if you're out there and you're innocent, you know who to call.
Mm-hmm. And I tell people all the time, the smartest and the brightest attorneys are going to get you an investigator. And that's one of the things where people I don't understand, at least now that I am in the middle of the work, why court appointed attorneys have such a bad reputation. When in fact, if you have court appointed attorneys, you're going to get a court appointed investigator. You can
Mhm. Oh,
have a court appointed social worker to go into. So, like I said, T is been charged with doing something to someone because they harmed Finnegan Bear. And come to find out what really happened is T got Finn when T was adopted and thrown in an orphanage, and this is her emotional pet, and she's been like all of that stuff has a place, right? And so your attorney will appoint you an investigator who will dig into that. Your attorney, your court appointed attorney can get you a mental and psych evaluation.
and that's
If
all on the court. Like you're not
that's
going
all,
and paying for that.
you don't have to pay for that. But
So
let's
that's
say
more than you could technically afford if you hired somebody out
if
there.
you hired an attorney. Absolutely. Because if you hire an attorney, right? And this happens all the time. You hire an attorney, you may pay that attorney 7, 10, 15, $20,000. Where are you after you have paid this attorney that much money? Where are you going to be able to afford the investigator that goes with that attorney?
Hmm.
So, and what a lot of people don't know is the pot of attorneys, like court appointed attorneys and pay attorneys, come from the same pot.
Hmm.
Craig and Tanisha can have the same attorney, and the only difference is Craig is paying for that attorney out of pocket, and Tanisha is not paying for that attorney because she got that attorney court appointed to her.
Are there people who can't have that privilege of a court-appointed attorney?
No, if you're charged, they ask you, do you like you have to prove that you don't have any money, like you're destitute or
Hmm.
whatever like that, for you to get a court appointed attorney. But yeah, it's the same pool of attorneys. I've had some cases. I've worked with the same attorneys on some court appointed cases, and some of that same attorney on a retained case.
Hmm.
They are the
Oh,
exact same attorneys. Now, the difference comes, there are some paid attorneys who only take paid cases because, baby, you got to pay me.
yeah.
See?
See, it's funny. It's like you always, when you say a court-appointed attorney, you always think like, oh, it's the bottom of the barrel attorneys who can't get work, so
No,
how can they
no.
get whatever
I
strong court?
work with court appointed attorneys who live in mansions.
Hmm.
I was gonna say they get paid still though, don't they?
Yeah, they get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Us.
get paid.
Yeah.
If I'm able to live a decent living, and I'm a court appointed investigator, I don't make what an attorney makes.
Hmm.
Yeah. In the same way I take paid and retained cases, so do they.
Mhm.
Hmm. Makes sense. We're going to
Yeah.
sleep
Mhm.
tonight.
Yeah. But
Ooh.
and when my friends, people call me and say, Des, I need an attorney. Who do you recommend? I tell them, let them assign you an attorney first. Go ahead, allow them to assign you a court appointed attorney, and then call me and tell me that who they assigned you to. And then I'll tell you, well, ask the judge for another attorney, or let me recommend this pay attorney for you. But yeah, I always tell my people, let them assign you someone first, and let's see who you get.
Interesting.
Good
Hmm.
advice for anybody.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't get caught up in that.
Oh, I'm not gonna get caught up in nothing. I'm not
Yeah,
touching no
no,
dime.
no, I'm talking to these people. Yeah, don't get caught up in that, because they and what I oftentimes hear is these paid attorneys, they'll sometimes take your money, and guess what? You won't see them again. The only time you will see them is if when you're sitting in court, and they bring you into the courtroom, and now you sit next to your attorney. Whereas I've been so busy this week working court appointed cases, where just today I sat with the client, me and his court appointed attorney. We sat with that man for like 4 hours today.
That's way more reassuring than
Yep,
somebody you don't see until you see him again
yep,
in court. Yeah.
yep,
Good to
yep,
know.
yeah.
Well,
So
we are surprisingly coming up on an hour of yeah,
y'all talk too much.
not to
Calling you,
because
Craig.
I
Goodness.
think tonight was great topics, right?
Yeah, but we need,
I think
and we just talking.
Yeah.
another Des, Craig, and Tanisha production.
Yeah.
Whether it's us in front of these cameras or us on these text
No,
messages, it's that's what we do.
what we gonna talk about today?
Yep. Well, I think tonight was great. I think for anyone watching, tonight's episode is packed with information.
Yeah, yeah. So again, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching post. We enjoy coming on and chatting and learning and educating people um, on, we've got our crime expert, and I mean, she keeps us straight. She keeps us on the straight and narrow because, as you can see, I'm asking the dumbest questions, things
No,
that I don't
you're not
know.
asking dumb questions. You're asking questions that people who don't work on this side know. Like I didn't know this stuff before I started working.
True.
Cause and for real, this is real talk. And I had that experience. One time I was in court for a traffic ticket. And I am like you, T. I'm standing up there. I'm like, yeah, Your Honor, I plead guilty. Whatever this ticket was, I did it. And the judge like, no, that is, ma'am, no, you're not
Slow
doing that
down.
in court. Yeah, chill out, lady. But yeah, they're not gonna allow that. And that's for your own protection.
Well, I'm glad you just told me that because I would be the first person like, do everything right by the law. I did it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no,
Now I
don't do
know.
that. Don't do
Yeah.
that. And a judge that's worth their bench and gavel, they wouldn't even allow you to do that.
And then they're sitting here going, put her on world's dumbest criminals.
Yeah, they wouldn't even allow you to do that.
Which is insane, by the way. That show just it's the dumbest criminals. It's titled correctly. You ever watch any of those?
I don't.
Oh,
Mhm.
gosh. If you need a break from like all the heaviness, you watch that show and you be like, oh Lord, what is wrong
People
with
are
these
very
people?
smart.
Pretty much only in America. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for tuning
yes.
in. We shall
Thanks.
Okay,
see
y'all. Good night.
you live
Please
next week.
yeah, we'll be back next week. We are working on some new content. Um, some new, not only like getting back into our regular swing of things, but also some new ideas I feel like that we have coming up.
Mhm.
These things take time, as I like to say.
Mhm.
And
I know.
in the meantime, be sure to subscribe, share these, chime in, hit us up below and let us know your thoughts.
Yes.
It's
Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
Yeah, it's super important to hit that subscribe
It
button.
means the world to us.
Yes. We know it means the world to me because I tell y'all all the
Yes.
time that it
Every
does.
time it's like, bing, we got a sub, bing, we got, and like Des,
Oh, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hey,
bing.
y'all, wake up. We got a sub.
Yep, I was like, it's a party on our text messages anytime somebody subscribes.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. And anytime somebody makes a comment, we're like, bing, who's going in? Who's going to see?
Yo, who's gonna respond?
yeah, who's responding?
Yep. So we're so appreciative for all the love and all the subscribers and all the comments. We just thank you all. So it means
Yes.
the world. So have a good night, everybody.
Yep.
Good
We'll
We'll
night,
see you
see
next
y'all
time.
next
y'all.
time. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.